Hey y'all, welcome back to Ascending with Ashley. I'm Ashley. This is Collective Coffee. A little more expansive than it was yesterday. So really quick, let's talk about what's happening here. What I shared yesterday about the Navajo Nation and the uranium being moved. I saw a better view of the map, and it's insane. It is predominantly most of the route is on Navajo land. I didn't realize it was like going through the res like it was. Also learned from other folks who are talking about it, especially Navajo folks, that the uranium mines in which they are taking this uranium from out here, I don't know. I need to look into when they were mining the uranium. But it has caused birth defects and cancer and other really intense illnesses for the Navajo folk for a very long time. And so that's why they don't want it on their land, understandably so. Also learned that they are moving them in these trucks that are open, and like only covered by tarps, right? So stop making me fucking glitch. Anyway, so that's pretty intense. Also, when we were at the splash pad yesterday, I got so burnt that I'm pretty much purple. It's horrible. I think I'm in a blister on this one, but anyway, I just wanted to share because you can see peaks of it. It's pretty gnarly. Today's Friday, August 2nd. What's happening in Venezuela, I also saw there was a presidential election in Venezuela. Apparently the person who, he's in a bad mood because I won't let him have his tablet because it's making him freak out too early. So anyway, pancakes are coming. So anyway, the presidential election was held and the population voted 70% for a new candidate, but the person who is in power, I don't know his name, it starts with an M, but I think the other one starts with an M too. Apparently he's very military. I don't know if this was a military coup or what, but he is not stepping down and he's claiming that he won. And so there's lots of TikToks of people in Venezuela and neighboring countries who have had to leave. I think they are in refuge. Hang on, he just went outside without closing the door. Gotta close the door. I don't even think it's 7 o'clock yet. It's 7 o'clock on the dot. Good morning. Anyway, so the population was just crying with the news, and there were lots of videos and TikToks of people watching what the TV was saying with the results and then reacting. And it's basically just devastation. Folks know that it's not good. I guess he's a human rights violator, and you know. So I think what we need to talk about before we talk about Bangladesh is how the control of the world, like if you're a person who's been calling people who talk about, oh my nose is even burned, the New World Order. So I, for one, have been talking about the New World Order since at least 2020. It's pretty obvious that's what was happening. But now everyone's like, especially Americans always get distracted and center themselves. But the New World Order has been enacted since the 80s. Reagan, and who is the woman in England, Europe? I don't remember. There's a really good book that you should read. It's called Neoliberalism. I had to read it for my master's program, and it was when I was reading it when I was going off on my pharma, so I wasn't really able to comprehend what I was reading. I should read it again. I have the book. It's at the RVs on the land. Oh my god, I'm so nervous that someone has stolen all those books. Anyway, side thought. The New World Order is very real. And I think that we've kind of gotten to a point where conspiracy theorists are getting a little bit more credit. But if you don't see global takeover happening, like by the elite and wealthy and Nazis, what are you looking at? That's my question. And so I think that's important to really think about. I can't believe I am putting in all this labor and he just goes outside. I think I accidentally locked the door. Hang on. So, I feel like that's going to happen here in the United States with Trump. I feel like regardless of what the, we already saw that last time with the insurrection on January 6th, and just the cult, following. I don't even want to say cult-like. The cult following that's happening in our country. You have extremists, right, who, for some reason or another, resonate with a billionaire more than other people who are like them, right? I think it has to do a lot with intelligence, basically. Intelligence and just lack of control over one's own life, that you feel like you should control others. And then there's also just like a little, seasoning of, just evil, I guess. But anyway, you're always going to have people being bought out by the evil entities, i.e. New World Order. I don't have a roster of every political leader in the world. That sounds like a fun project, but I'm not good at Excel. Anyway, we do need to talk about a few other places before we go. But I just want you to, if you're on this channel watching Collective Coffee, it's probably time to start understanding how the New World Order works. And then take this pyramid that we've talked about for the United States and expand it over the world. It's really not a hard concept to grasp, especially since now that we have access to information from other people on the internet. Don't stay in your own bubble. That's where you're going wrong. You are not the center of the universe. You are a part of a very large system, and you want to ensure you're at least aware that there are other parts, right? These are the steps of genocide, classification, discrimination. All of these things are constantly working under these leaders, right? Because they use this, and then they're going to choose which group. Right now it's the Palestinians and Muslims in Sudan that are being genocided. There's also Tigray happening. There's Haiti happening. And Bangladesh. That's a good segue into Bangladesh. I don't know a lot about Bangladesh because they have cut the internet, but there are folks who are talking about it who are not there. Hang on, I need to pour my tea. But there's a student revolution happening, and apparently I saw yesterday that they are just executing anyone who, they being the powers that be, and police and military and everyone who, again, what we just talked about, there will always be pawns that support the system. If you haven't seen Civil War, I really want you to see Civil War. Again, that's an American-centric way of looking at it, but it's important for Americans to be able to understand how these things work when you can use that as a lens for other places, right? Give me one sec. I think what's really important... Who is that meow? Who is that meow? Kid. We might have to move outside, friends. We'll take 2 pancakes out with us and then we'll go outside. I don't think I've done any collective coffees from the porch swing like I did last year. I got myself a new mug and I love it. It's big. Anyway, I really want to talk the whole time I have 19 minutes. But yeah, in Bangladesh, people are just being murdered and executed and for speaking up. I think it had something to do with the government had I don't know, I saw it and then I forgot it. it has something to do with, like, it's the reason that the college kids, it has something to do with a certain amount of pay or a certain amount of jobs available that they can go for. And so it's predominantly college students who are like, what the fuck, you know, like, we're doing this. And, you know, we want to have something after we're done with this kind of thing. But it does have something to do with the job sector, whether that's pay or job availability or forced into some sort of job that they didn't want. It's something along those lines, as far as I know. And again, TikTok is great for all of these things. You can hashtag any country and you're gonna get people talking about those countries. You know, it's really important. Like, at this time, I think another distinction that's really important is just like globalization is really bad, right? That means that there's like access to, you know, there's like McDonald's and Targets all over the world, and, you know, there's KFCs and places that it's Western globalization is Western civilization, like, in other countries, right? And that's why the United States has military bases all over the world. You know, they're the only ones, if you didn't know that. There's like hundreds of military bases all over the world, right? Like, that's why when people are in the military and they're stationed, you know, my uncle, for instance, was in Heidelberg, Germany at one point in time. He made it to the colonel ranking. He worked at the Pentagon during the 9/11. We don't talk. Anyway, all of that to say is, like, colonization follows that, right? Like, and that's a really interesting and good way to conceptualize, again, colonization, because apparently people are having a hard time with it with Palestine. I'm not sure why. Like, you're watching, like, the desecration, I don't think that's the right word, you're watching the extermination part of it, and you're seeing, I mean, you're seeing all of these in real time, right? I mean, if you're following folks in Gaza or even the West Bank, or anybody who is in the dysphoria, right? That means that those are folks from that area that are not allowed to be there, right? Like, again, people who have had to take refuge, like what we were talking about with Venezuela. So anyway, what I think is really important is that these governments are all now working together. And I think that's been really clear, again, if you're using Palestine as a lens of, I really don't want to have this conversation outside. Baby, come get your pancakes! If you're, fuck, sorry, I lost my thought. Damn it. What did I just say? I don't know. I really need to just download CapCut so I can edit my videos. But anyway, I did have it downloaded, but then I deleted it because it's a lot of effort. Fuck, I have no idea. That thought is completely gone. Anyway, what we need to understand is that Nazis are pretty much running the world, but it's not just Nazis, it's also like, it might just be Nazis. I think we need to recognize that after World War II, a lot of Nazis were given free passes to just, like, move wherever they wanted, and a lot of them went to South America. Again, Google is free. You can learn these things. And a lot of them were put into, like, programs like NASA and like research programs in the United States. Hence what we're seeing now. But I think what's really interesting is that we're going to be seeing some sort of, I don't know, I feel like the United States is going to go on a little roller coaster ride in the next few months. I feel like now, especially with so many white women backing Kamala Harris, I don't know if you heard, there was like a big Zoom call, and like over 100,000 white women were on there for Kamala Harris. That's great. It's great progress to see, but it's also a progress that's obsolete, because Kamala Harris is Black, but she's also like a cop, like a really bad one. I mean, I'm not saying, I don't believe that either or is better. I don't believe that choosing the lesser of two evils is a good way to go. I'm an anarchist. I believe in community and building small little networks and making those networks, like, connected. That's what I believe. But I also have, like, kind of an organizing background, so I mean, yeah, but I mean, if you had an organizing background, you would probably believe that too. I don't like terms like socialist. I'm an anarchist. But I also know that, like, the litmus test that, like, I would pass humanity. Like, I conduct myself relatively good, like, all the time. I'm a good person. Sometimes I don't always put my cart back, which is a litmus test for humanity, but that's mostly because I'm a single mom and I don't want to leave my kid in the car. So I always usually try to park by, like, a cart go backer thingy, and now that's not even an option because we don't even go in the store. But anyway, okay, off topic. 4 minutes. Sudan is still under attack. What's happening in Sudan is that there are two militias or rebel army, they're militias, and they are fighting each other, but they're also, like, just taking out civilians. In my undergrad, I learned a lot about what was happening in Africa because I was like, why don't they teach us about Africa? And so I chose to study about it. And it's a lot of militias, but who gives those weapons to them? I'll give you a guess. Yep, you're right. Arms dealers, #1, United States, no matter where. Also been to the South America thing is also backed by the United States. And the United States has taken a stance and said that the other candidate has won, which I find interesting. But WINSEC, or the School of Americas is now known as WINSEC. It's in Fort Benning, Georgia. And there's been protest against it for a long time. But what it is a combat training school for Latin American soldiers. Those countries send their soldiers to America to learn how to kill civilians and take control. And then for, since it's been a good 30 years. No, that was in the 90s. It's a very long time. I think from 70s, probably 80s. I don't know. I'm not perfect on that. I have been to a School of America's protest. I've been to Fort Benning. It was something I chose to do in my undergrad with kidney stones, by the way. But it was great. It was a whole weekend of workshops. It was also really put on by, like, the Jesuit priests, and the Catholic Church are very big there. I went to a Catholic school, so I think that was kind of the thing. But the person who started it, Roy, what's your name, Roy? I don't remember his name. Anyway, it's a great thing if you want to go, if you're in that part of the world. Go to the School of America's protest. But anyway, I have 2 minutes, not even, about a minute and a half. Also, let's just talk on the Olympics right now. Olympics are the really bad colonization, right? Like, if you haven't made that. In order for the Olympics to happen, a lot of shit has to happen. Right now, the Olympics are in Paris, but there are Olympics happening in LA in 2028. And that's why the homeless sweeps have gone crazy. That was what I was organizing in when I was in Los Angeles, was in Skid Row and around homelessness and policing specifically. But yeah, in order for the Olympics to happen, poor people are always affected. Olympics are a really bad thing to do. It's gentrification, colonization. Gentrification is just a smaller scope of colonization, but we can talk about that later. I have about 30 seconds left, but I'm going to let you go now because otherwise it's not going to let me upload. It gets weird. All right, have a good one.